Hi everyone, it's Shay from Grassroots Football Adventures. I just thought I'd do another quick post-match interview. I think the last one, I don't even know if it's gone online because I've had a lot going on the last week or two. But yes, people I might have said a few people the daughter broke her ankle about a week and a half ago, and then we went away for her birthday. We went to a safari park in Kent, and she went off a step, and unfortunately, it fractured it in three places. Only hairline fractures, but she's now got a boot on, which is much better than that cast that was falling apart. But yeah, anyway, onto the post-match game. Linnets won. Shifnal Town 2. Sorry, I keep thinking of who we're playing Tuesday. Sporting Calder. I know he said Darlaston the other before. But yeah, when it's won, Shifnal Town 2. Obviously, no defeat is ever good, but this one was a bit. It was concerning. Like it's still, I get it's still early in the season, and there's no alarm bell should be ringing or anything just yet. But it's not. It's not good if we have aspirations to go up, which we obviously the team will want to as they do every year. But yeah, so he conceded a first goal in the first 10 minutes from a corner. Way too easy for the striker. Come in, knocked it back, and he just kicked it in from a yard or two. And then we got a sort of huffed and puffed, didn't do much. First half, it was a pretty awful first half. Should have equalised, but took too long on one chance. Second half, we were knocking at the door, doing better, but I thought it wasn't going to go in, and then we got given a penalty. Like, I can't confirm or deny whether it should have been given, because I actually went to get my phone out to see how long was left, and then I looked up and he said everyone was looking excited, and I saw him point to the spot, and I thought, oh, he's given us a penalty. So Sean Miller converts that 1-1. I'm thinking, right, we might have got our J away, we might be able to win this later on. Wouldn't have been deserved, but take it. If you can hear any background, that's my daughter, my wife. She's obviously walking around in a boot. She's just got to be careful about putting any weight on at the moment. We get back to 1-1, and what do? Give away a free kick. Barely a minute later, and they score from the free kick, dead ball, set piece, 2-1 down. And then obviously Craney was a bit unlucky. He had a really good header, bounced off the top of the bar, swung a few crosses in, had a few more corners, free kicks, but no one could just get on the end of it, and it's kind of hard, really. You don't like to be overly critical of saying, "Oh, why does no one get on the end of anything?" But there was some good deliveries put in by Joe Ferguson, especially. I thought he put some really good deliveries in, balls, and kept going. It's a shame that we just couldn't get anyone on the end of it. I get that happens sometimes, but yeah, it's not no defeat's good, but yeah, it's I think this team as well, Shifnal Town, from what I was gathering, I was trying to ask a few people. Apparently, they got promoted last year, so all right, well, Breck of doing amazing, and they come up last year. But in reality, if you've been in this division for 7 years, your 8th year, and you're playing a team that's been promoted and probably in this division for the first time in I'm not sure how long, but you should be beating them at home. Again, no easy games, but no excuse not to win and to lose 2-1. It's been not a good week for the club. 1 point from 6. Obviously Tuesday, as I said in my post match, we had that big chance again to score early and probably grind out a 1-0, but we missed it and then didn't get any really much other chances and paid for that. And today we just weren't good enough. Like, it was just so frustrating, as I said, when Sean scored his penalty with about 10-15 minutes left. He thought, yeah, okay, we've got Webber, we've done it, we can push for the winner, and I think unfortunately, I think the team as a whole just off it today. And sometimes it happens, I get that. Sometimes you do have poor games, off games, And I try to take that in mind when I'm watching games and not to be too critical or overly critical, because it can happen. Obviously, Scott McCaw is still out injured. I think he's had a slight muscle injury. I think it maybe his hamstring, I think he was saying. Ryan Brook, he has still, I think, recovering from his concussion. Apparently, I was told Ryan Brook was in a car accident not too long ago, so I was really sorry to hear that, and I hope you're doing better, Ryan, mate. And I'm glad you were okay after the accident, because I was involved in one once when a van smashed the side of my. It was like they smashed the back corner of my car and glass shattered everywhere, and the noise it made, it's terrifying. So I'm glad you're all right, Brookie, mate, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you whenever you're ready to get back, because I know concussion, especially something like that, is a very serious thing. But apparently he'll be okay for Tuesday. Okay, we haven't got Scott, we haven't got Brookie. Whereas Crane, to be fair, Crane, he was isolated on his own. I still think he did well. He did well Tuesday, and I just think he struggled. He didn't have little to no service, and it's hard playing as a lone striker a lot of the time. But other than that, I think we still had enough to. Well, we should have had enough to win, really. Obviously, Deck McLaughlin's still out. I think he's had a foot injury, I think. No, Jack Welch was back. That was great to see him back. I know he'd been obviously out. I know he played the last bit of Tuesday, but only like 10 minutes, I think. And Sean Miller started. He only played he only came on late against Mosley, so Sean Miller started, got us a penalty. So it was great to have them back. So looking at who we've got back and the ones out, I am disappointed we haven't won them. I know Scott is the top goal scorer, I think, not just for us but in the league, but there's going to be times where you don't have your top goal scorer, your main striker, and we can't rely on Scott all the time. There'll be times where he might be out. Hopefully he won't be out for many games, but we can't just rely on him. I understand it's a blow to lose your top goal scorer. Of course it is, your main source of goals, but the team as a collective has to step up when your main player is missing, because it's going to happen at times, and you've got to find ways to win. Whether you win ugly, you win 1-0, you've got to find ways to win, and it's it is obviously a concern that we looked like without them, with Bucky and Scott, we looked a bit, I don't like to say a bit toothless up front. Craney, he's only a young kid, he's done amazing at the under-21s, he's been banging in goals. Now I love seeing him get his opportunity. I think he did well, and obviously that shot that hit the top of the bar, his header, I think he deserves credit, Craney, credit today, and I'm very glad he's getting his, chances, and it's just, as a whole, we weren't good enough, and okay, fair play to Shifnal Town. I don't think they were great, but, fair play, they took the 2 chances they had, and sometimes, that's what you have to do. People bang on about, oh, well, you don't deserve to win, you're not played well, but the game's about putting the ball in the net and taking chances, and every team will win when they don't deserve it, and I just wish we could do that sometimes, because of course you want to win and play well, but I'm just going to touch on a couple of things during the game. If anyone saw me shouting at that number 7, I apologise if it sounded like I was getting overly aggressive. He pushed to shove one of our players, was really being aggressive at one of our players, and instinctively when I see an opposition player do that, I'm going to stand up for ours and I will shout at him. I'll try not to say anything that's too below the belt, or that's too certain things that you shouldn't say that might get you in trouble. I know the see you next Tuesday word might not be the nicest word in the world, but as far as I know, there's far worse things you can say. And he was getting in one of our players, and I didn't understand him and their team being a bit, dirty at times. They were winning the game, and I just thought it was weird. I'd never seen a team sometimes be annoyed, even though they're winning. But it's just I just stick up for our players. I would never randomly just abuse an opposition player just because they're playing for them. Never do that. It's only if they start trying to put their face in our players or start pushing or shoving ours. Because I'm a Linnets supporter. I'm going to stick up for my team, and if I see other players trying to bully or intimidate ours, I will stick up for them. I will shout at them to fuck off and get off our players. I was passionate about the Linnets, and I think that's okay. But obviously, if anyone was near me and thought I was being out of order or scared anyone, or anything, I apologise for that. I'm not. I don't like to think I'm a bad person. I'm passionate, and I try not to let my emotions run away with me too much. But maybe at times they have done, and I try to be calm. And also there was an incident at full time. I mean, I didn't exactly see what happened, but there was people. Well, because we stood in the shed second half. We sat first half because wife had been at work 6 till 2, and we come straight over. So we sat down, but for second half we stood. We thought we'd get better footage because the sitting, it's not bad, but it's not as, probably the footage isn't as good. So there was a member of Shifnal Town's, I assume he was on the coaching staff. I didn't know who they were pointing at, but when they identified him, I saw who they were pointing at. Apparently he'd pushed one of our younger players, and I saw Rob Sadler try to get to him, our assistant Rob. I thought he was really angry. I thought it must have been bad, because, Lucky and Sads are not people that would just try to pick fights with people just because they've lost a game. They would only do that if they've seen a member of the opposition team, coaching staff, whatever, do something to ours. And I don't understand why a member of their coaching staff would do something especially when they've won, So that was not good. But there was a couple of incidents last year, and there's probably I don't know if it'll be any more will happen about it this level. I think once it's happened, I think people just draw a line under it. I know, obviously, if there was something serious, then it should be investigated. But who knows whether Brad will talk about it in his post-match interview? I'm not sure. But yeah, overall disappointing day. Tuesday was disappointing with that big chance, and today's very disappointing being at home, and really no excuse for not winning. I'm sorry guys, but there's no excuse, and I'm sure a lot of them feel that way themselves. But you're gonna have to win against Sporting Cows on Tuesday, and then win again away at Stafford next Saturday. Oh God, still can't shake off that equalising goal from last season, the 94th or 5th minute equaliser. But no, we've had games in hand. I was saying to a couple guys there, said, well, it's good having games in hand, but if we don't win them, it's going to make little to no difference about moving up the table. We've got to win them, and we knew we'd have a lot of games in hand because of the FA Cup run. I'm still super proud of the guys for the run they've been on, but obviously, again, as we're talking to someone, he said that's gone now. It's done. We've had a great run. We've got to forget about that. And though it's the league, that's your bread and butter. That's what you have to, be striving for each week is 3 points. And right now, I'm not saying obviously I can't predict the future. What will happen come next November, December, Jan, Feb, March, April. We're miles off being anywhere close to playoff places. If we continue as we are, we'll probably just finish mid-table again, 11th. Like that last year was a horrendous season for the Linnets standards. It was the worst season they'd had since being promoted in 2018. So yeah, if they continue like that, we'll be nowhere near the top 5, and we can forget about not just the top spot, but we can forget about playoffs. Probably forget about top half. So really got to have a long hard think about that. But as you say, one of the few things I could say in the favour is we've still got a few games in hand, and it's still early in the season, but we can't afford many more performances or results like that, especially at home. But Brad, he will obviously work on that. As I said, he's worked wonders at the club already. The Cheshire Senior Cup win, the furthest we've ever gone in the FA Cup as the Runcorn Linnets, not as obviously Runcorn FC, but I don't know, I've said that a million times. So yeah, I trust Brad he'll put it right, because I'd rather have him there than anyone else. During difficult moments. And I really hope that we can put it right. I think one of the things is we just want us to go on a winning run, but that's one thing that frustrated me. Even when we got second 2 seasons ago, I felt like there was times where we'd win 2 or 3 games, and I was like, oh, can we just put a run of 4 or 5 games together, and then we win 2 or 3, and then we draw, or we lose one, and then win 2, and then draw. It's just we just couldn't put a run, because that gets your confidence up. But we'll just have to see. Like, I'm not angry or anything. I'm concerned, because I felt like Shifnal, although yes, I'll give them credit for the win and fair play, they put the ball in the net twice. We only did it once. I feel like they were nothing great. And honestly, when we lost to Buxton, I know this is rehashing old stuff now, like in the FA Cup game, I don't think they were anything special, Buxton. I mean, we were, that day, of course, we were massively unlucky, and I was devastated for all the guys and Brad and Rob and everyone at the club. I was good, sick as a dog about that. But obviously that's gone, as we said. We've got to focus on the league, and we've got to realise if we can do things like that against a team, who are registered full-time players, and also beat teams above us like we Hyde last year, Ashton this year, we can. There's no excuse for not winning these games, as we've proved it. You understand, they say certain players can raise the game for other teams, and I'm not saying we do that at all. I just think we generally have a very good squad, but we've got to remember that, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is sometimes. But as you say, it was an off day. Wasn't not been a good week all round, but as you say, we just got to hope we don't have any more like that for a while, because you know what, right now I think we were nowhere near. We can forget about playoffs or anything unless we start getting wins under our belt and actually putting a run together, which I'm not saying it's not possible, but it remains to be seen. So I'll just have to, as you say, watch his space and see what happens. Right, I'm going to finish the rest of this Subway sandwich. It's gone cold, I think, so I'm going to have to heat it up again. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of the weekend. I'm hoping next week will be better. I'll be back on Tuesday night for Sporting Cows at home. God forbid if we don't fucking win that. Sorry, language. Mind you, I when it says on Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube, and it says like, is this suitable for children? I put no, so I mark it as an 18-year-old. So if there's any swearing in there, people go, oh, think of the children. I'm like, I did mark it 18 plus, so watch at your own risk. No, I don't like to think I'm that bad, but yeah, so now we have to do win Tuesday, and I dare say we have to go and try and win Saturday. I don't know how Stafford Rangers are doing. I've not really looked at the table much. Apparently, Sporting Cows actually beat Bury today. That's a big shock. So, but you don't take any team lightly in this division or any level. at the end of the day, me, like probably every other Linnets fans, just wants to see us go up. We don't care whether it's first, second, third, fourth, fifth. I would happily finish fifth. Have to play away twice. But at the moment, to say we're miles off that, a long, long way, and as you say, blame injuries, certain stuff, and then do that. Just one final thing before I go. I know a lot of people. This is probably a really unpopular opinion. I understand a lot of people won't agree with me, but the referee today, I think, actually did really well. Yeah, we lost, and I know it might sound odd, and people might be thinking, "What? How can you think that?" But I honestly, from just my own observation, he actually reffed the game really well. Yes, he got a few things not right, but on a whole, I think he actually did well. And I'm not just saying that because he gives us a penalty. I just think he reffed the game well. Any clear fouls that were made, he was spotting them, and I actually think he's best ref I've seen in a long time. So fair play to him, and it's nice to see a game being reffed fairly. Right. I'm gonna get off and heat this Subway up. I got it for lunch, but I wasn't hungry before, so I'll eat it now. God, I'm really tired. Up at 5 a.m. God, I have an away in tomorrow. Okay, everyone, take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see some of you there on Tuesday. Take care. Bye.